Hi everybody, welcome back to another gaming video. So this is not a pickup video, although most of mine seem to be that's the case from a week-to-week basis. However, this one's actually a look at this past previous gaming generation, and seeing as far as there's something that looks like it resembles something from our gaming past. So if you're not already aware, if you saw my earlier videos back in September, I'm a big Dreamcast fan. I was not a early-ish adopter. I was kind of really into the Sega Saturn at the time because I picked that one up late. And so I am jumping into the Dreamcast bandwagon probably about a good 6 to 12 months into its life cycle. And I went on it really hard and definitely built up a really good collection for the Dreamcast, which I'm pretty proud of. And it's something to where I thought to myself, will we ever see a system like the Dreamcast? And when I started thinking about it, there were two systems that came to mind as far as recent memory that I thought might have similar parallels to the Dreamcast. I'm going to talk about one of those systems today, and that system, I think, is the Wii U. And I decided to delve further into to see whether or not did my initial thoughts of the Wii U having similar roots as the Dreamcast have any merit, or was it simply misguided just because of the fact that the Wii U was not a commercial success in comparison to the Switch or the Wii that preceded it? And delving further, I figured the best way to figure it out would be to take a look and see as far as how many games were released for the Wii U and the Dreamcast, and take a look and see console exclusives. So the way I looked at it as far as for the systems in particular, because we're taking a look at systems from more than 10 years apart, is what would be the best way to take a look and to see as far as do they really make sense. So the merits I used for the comparison were to take a look for the systems and see were there physical versions of the games on their systems on other systems. And that being the case, I used North America as the region for comparison. I know that there's certain games that may have been released, in Europe or in Japan that came physically but may missed out on the United States and vice versa. So I figured the best way to take a look at it would be from a North American point of view, because that's where I shop from. Not saying that I don't import games, I definitely do. I really enjoyed it back when I was stationed in Japan, finding games that we never got to see in the States. However, for the comparison video, I want to use North America because oftentimes game companies will release their consoles in North America first, just because if they can get a good foothold in the United States, they use that to push systems further. We saw this current generation with both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 both releasing in November of 2013, and seeing how they went forward to set their mark on the gaming landscape. So taking a look at the Wii U, we'll start with them, is that there were approximately 168 physical games released for the system during its lifespan. Of those games, there are approximately 31 games that are still considered console exclusives that are in physical condition. There isn't a physical version, say on a PC platform or a handheld or some other console iteration in North America. Those games include the following: Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Devil's Third, Family Party 30 Great Games, Obstacle Arcade, Game & Mario, Game Party Champions, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympics, Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympics, Mario Party 10, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, NES Remix Pack, Nintendo Land, Paper Mario Color Splash, Pikmin 3, Rabbids Land, Rapala Pro Bass Fishing 2012, Sing Party, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, Splatoon, Star Fox Guard, Star Fox Zero, Super Mario 3D World, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Tank Tank Tank, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, Wii Fit U, Wii Party U, Wii Sports Club, Wonderful 101, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Your Shape Fitness Evolved 2013. Now, of note, of those 31 Wii U titles, 2 games have already been announced to have an updated port to the Switch with better graphics and additional content, and those are Xenoblade Chronicles X and Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So the exclusivity list for the Wii U gets even smaller. So of the 168 approximate games, you're looking at about just under 20% of those games are actually console exclusives, and it's getting smaller. Now take a look at the Dreamcast, which launched in North America on September 9th, 1999, and was soon after discontinued with less than 2 years from the time that Sega came on strong and then had to pull out of the console market. There were approximately 247 games released. Of those games, there are over 100 console exclusives. Now, I'm not the complete source of all knowledge. What I used for my search was taking a look at the official Sega release checklist from their website of all the Dreamcast games released in North America commercially. This is not going to the Josh Prod and other indie releases we're taking a look at during this Sega Dreamcast lifespan, and of those, over 100 games. So to be a little bit more exact, it looks like about 110 games. That's over 40% of the games are console exclusives. The list is pretty extensive. They include Four Wheel Thunder, Aerowings, Aerowings 2 Airstrike, Air Force Delta, Alien Front Online, Armada, Blue Stinger, Bomberman Online, Cannon Spike, Carrier, Charge and Blast, Coaster Works, Confidential Mission, D2, Daytona USA, Death Crimson OX, Deep Fighter, Demolition Racer No Exit, Draconis Cult of the Worm, Dragon Riders Chronicles of Perm, Ducati World Racing Challenge, Dynamite Cop, Elemental Gimmick Gear, F1 World Grand Prix, F355 Challenge Passion Rosa, Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolves, Flag to Flag Kart, Floygan Brothers, Fur Fighters, Jigawing, Jigawing 2, Gunbird 2, Gundam Side Story 0079, Heavy Metal Geomatrix, Illbleed, Industrial Spy Operation Espionage, Iron Aces, Jet Grind Radio, The Last Blade 2, Mag Force Racing, Mach-In X, Mars Matrix, Max Steel, Metropolis Street Racer, Mortal Kombat Gold, NBA 2K, NBA 2K1, NCAA College Football 2K2, Next Tetris Online Edition, NFL 2K, NFL 2K1, NHL 2K, NHL 2K2, Ooga Booga, Out Trigger, Pen Trisalon, Plasma Sword, Project Justice, Psychic Force 2012, Record of Lodos War, Red Dog, Real Fishing Wild, The Ring Terror's Realm, Rippin' Riders, Seaman, Sega GT, Sega Marine Fishing, Sega Rally 2, Sega Smash Pack Volume 1, 7th Cross Evolution, Silent Scope, Silver, Sonic's Shuffle, Soul Calibur, Soul Fighter, Spawn in the Demon's Hand, Spec Ops 2 Omega Squad, Speed Devils, Speed Devils Online Racing, Spirit of Speed 1937, Sports Jam, Star Lancer, Street Fighter 3 Double Impact, Super Magnetic Neo, Super Runabout San Francisco Edition, Surf Rocket Racers, Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage, Techromancer, Tee-Off, Tennis 2K2, Test Drive V-Rally, Time Stalkers, TNN Motorsports Hardcore Heat, Tokyo Extreme Racer 2, Toy Commander, Typing of the Dead, Virtual Athlete 2000, Virtual Fighter 3 TB, Virtua Striker, Virtual On Oratorio Tangram, Weetrix Plus, Wild Metal, World Series Baseball 2K1, World Series Baseball 2K2, Extreme Sports, and Zombie Revenge. Now, of note, there have been some of these games on the Dreamcast ported digitally, but as far as physical versions, this is the list I have, which is pretty extensive when you compare it to the Wii U. And even if you did proportionally, figuring out, okay, if the Wii U's library was the same size as the Dreamcast, you know, you're taking a look at a 50% increase in the size of the Wii U library would match the Dreamcast library. You're going from 30 to 45 games. We're talking about over 100 games that are just on the Dreamcast. And some of these are in very niche genres, such as shooters like Mars Matrix, to where they still fetch a very high dollar value on the online market because you can't find this game anywhere else unless you're doing, you know, emulation and MAME or own the arcade cabinet to play it on. Then your only recourse is to pick it up on the Dreamcast. So, in taking a look as far as why the Wii U initially I thought could potentially compare with the Dreamcast, you gotta go back before the Switch launch, and we take a look and see some other games that were still console exclusives. Bayonetta 2, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Hyrule Warriors, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, new Super Mario Bros. U, new Luigi Wii U, and Pokken Tournament. So typically when you took a look at the GameCube, the Wii, the Wii U, you didn't really have games necessarily that cross from one generation to the other, except for the lone exception being Zelda. So we saw that with Twilight Princess going from the GameCube to the Wii. And so with the Wii, we did see some of those games get ported over to the Wii U, particularly some of the Zelda games. But we saw Breath of the Wild also get a Switch port similar to how the GameCube to Wii transitioned. So that value as far as exclusivity makes the Wii U even less attractive when you think about it from a game system for if you're looking to buy games that you're hoping to maybe turn around to sell for a profit down the road. I don't really recommend doing that and such. If you're into that, so be it. I'm not telling you how to use your money, but I'm telling you that I don't think it's going to have the same dividends of return on your investment in comparison to the Dreamcast. Like I said, there's games that are still stuck on that system. Now, granted though, when the system had hit its peak, usually game systems hit their low volume level of value probably about 10 years after release. 8 to 10 years is when you're usually hitting rock bottom, because usually you're deep into the next console generation, looking forward to the next console. So those consoles that are the prior or two prior, you can usually find those games on the cheap. So that's why we're seeing increase in value of games going back a couple generations. And so yeah, if you're thinking about the Wii U, could it be a good investment? I mean, if you find the games cheap enough and you want to sit on them and see if it's going to make you money down the road, it's probably a safer bet than sometimes some bonds and stocks and such, because sometimes you hear some bad news and the volume drops how much despite how much money they will have made over the course of a fiscal quarter. So something to consider. So definitely, now that the Wii U certainly been supplanted by the Switch, it's a great time now to take a look and see about buying some of these Wii U games on the cheap. I definitely recommend doing that because it's still a great system. There's still games on there that are really good. Even though some of these games may have been ported to the Switch, if you're trying to figure out, dollar for dollar your best value, you're going to have comparable graphics. The Switch has the Wii U beat because of the fact that it has both, a home console use as well as a game console that you can take portably. So that's a great advantage to the Switch. And the fact is that the Wii U doesn't have that. So if you're looking for that portability factor, the Switch definitely has a beat. But if you're looking for gaming value for the money, the Wii U is not a shabby investment. And to add to it too is that the X factor I think that makes the Wii U still worth purchasing, even if you have a Switch and a Wii and you're wondering should I bother with a Wii U, is the fact that your Wii system is going to be based upon RCA cables or component cables. Now you can try to look for like an HDMI adapter, but what does your Wii U do? It plays your Wii games just fine and can output an HDMI signal. So if you get something like, say, the M Classic or the M cable, you can make use of the Wii U and all of its high definition glory and upscale, so you have the best gaming picture possible. So if you want to take a look at games, perhaps from the Wii that are going to potentially get a port to the Switch, like the original Xenoblade would be a prime example. That's one to simply say, if you want to get that high definition look sooner than later, go ahead and plug it into your Wii U, get an M Classic or M cable, plug it in, make the most use of it with your Wii U. So hopefully there's some of these games as far as the Dreamcast you've never heard of, had no idea. So go out there and go get yourself a Dreamcast, and certainly there's a lot of great console exclusives that are strictly stuck in Japan, as well as I even covered the European market, because you can have in English on the Dreamcast games like Shenmue 2. You can also get Rez, I believe Space Channel 5 Part 2 came out, as well as Headhunter. So the closest thing we got to Metal Gear Solid on the Dreamcast, not including Metal Gear Solid with the Bleem play disc. So if you don't have one of those, go out there and pick it up. So it was a pleasure doing the research to make this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Kermit the Gaming Hermit, and I'll see you next time. Take care.